Our world is spiritual, mental, and immaterial, says a renowned physicist. Quantum physics and parapsychology are revealing that there is much more to our reality than what we think, and it may challenge what we currently believe. Are we living through a paradigm shift? In 2005, professor of physics and astronomy at Johns Hopkins University, Richard Conn Henry, published a paper in the journal Nature entitled The Mental Universe. In it, he writes the following: a fundamental conclusion of the new physics also acknowledges that the observer creates the reality. As observers, we are personally involved with the creation of our own reality. Physicists are being forced to admit that the universe is a mental construction. Pioneering physicist Sir James Jeans wrote, "The stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than like a great machine. Mind no longer appears to be an accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We ought rather hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. The universe is immaterial, mental, and it is spiritual," he said. The underlying idea he's getting across with the statement is that in some way, shape, or form, consciousness is directly intertwined with what we perceive to be our physical material world, and that the nature of reality is made up of non-physical stuff. He goes on to emphasize how, in the modern-day scientific world, there have been serious attempts to preserve a material world, but they produce no new physics, and they serve only to preserve an illusion. This illusion he refers to again is the idea that the makeup of our reality is strictly and fundamentally physical. Nikola Tesla is often attributed with saying, "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous century of its existence." Many scientists, I would say the majority of scientists in the field, all feel the same way, yet there is still a tremendous lack of attention paid to immaterial science in the mainstream academic world. This is odd given the fact that at the highest levels of government, usually within the Department of Defense, non-physical phenomena like telepathy, clairvoyance and remote viewing, precognition, and more are all and have been heavily studied and verified for a very long time. These phenomena are within the realm of parapsychology, which is directly intertwined with quantum physics. That convinced me what convinced me was just the evidence, the accumulating evidence as I worked in this field, and I got to see more and more of the evidence. I visited the laboratories even beyond where I was working to see what they were doing, and I could see that they had really tight controls, and so I got convinced by the good science that I saw being done. And in fact, I will say as a statistician, I've consulted in a lot of different areas of science. The methodology and the controls on these experiments are tighter than any other area of science where I've worked. This is what Dr. Jessica Utz said, chair of the Department of Statistics, University of California, Irvine, and a professor there since 2008. A paper published in Frontiers of Neuroscience emphasizes this. Research on parapsychology phenomena, PSI, is being carried out in various accredited universities and research centers throughout the world by academics in different disciplines trained in the scientific method. E.g., circa 80 PhDs have been awarded in psi-related topics in the UK in recent years. This research has continued for over a century despite the taboo against investigating the topic, almost complete lack of funding, and professional and personal attacks. The Parapsychological Association has been an affiliate of the AAAS since 1969, and more than 20 Nobel Prize winners and many other eminent scientists have supported the study of psi or even conducted research themselves. Psi meaning parapsychological phenomena. So why is there such a strong resistance? Could it simply be that the implications with regards to the findings within these realms are too great? When physics changes, so do global paradigms and the perceptions people have of our world. Some discoveries literally have the ability to shatter the way we perceive our modern day world and perhaps change the way we live and even have us question the way we live. Cassandra Wheaton, PhD and former President CEO at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, an organization founded by Apollo 14's Dr. Edgar Mitchell to study consciousness and its relationship with the nature of our reality, offers this thoughtful explanation. There seems to be a deep concern that the whole field will be tarnished by studying a phenomenon that is tainted by its association with superstition, spiritualism, and magic. Protecting against this possibility sometimes seems more important than encouraging scientific exploration or protecting academic freedom, but this may be changing, end quote. Now take, for example, prominent physicist Lord Kelvin, who stated in the year 1900 that there is nothing new to be discovered in physics now. All that remains is more and more precise measurement. It was not long after that statement when Einstein published his paper on special relativity. Einstein's theories challenged the accepted framework of knowledge at the time and forced the scientific community to open up to an alternate view of reality. It serves as a great example of how concepts that are taken to be absolute truth are susceptible to change. A few years ago, a group of internationally recognized scientists have come together to stress the importance of what is still commonly overlooked in the mainstream scientific community. The fact that matter, that is, protons, electrons, photons, anything that has a mass, is not the only reality. We wish to understand the nature of our reality, but how can we do so if we are continually examining only physical systems? What about the role of non-physical systems, such as consciousness, or their interaction with physical systems, matter? Despite the unraveled empirical success of quantum theory, the very suggestion that it may be literally true as a description of nature is still greeted with cynicism, incomprehension, and even anger. Just to reiterate, at the turn of the 19th century, physicists started to explore the relationship between energy and the structure of matter. In doing so, the belief that a physical Newtonian material universe that was at the very heart of scientific knowing was dropped, and the realization that matter is nothing but an illusion replaced it. Scientists began to recognize that everything in the universe is made out of energy. This has been known in the scientific community for more than 100 years. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivation from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulating consciousness. This is what Max Planck said, theoretical physicist who originated quantum theory, which won him the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1918. The quantum double-slit experiment is one that has been used to examine the connection between physical matter and human consciousness. It brings up what's known as quantum uncertainty, which is defined as the ability, according to the quantum mechanics laws that govern subatomic affairs, if of a particle like an electron to exist in a murky state of possibility, to be anywhere, everywhere, and nowhere at all, until clicked into substantially by a laboratory detector or an eyeball. A paper published in the peer-reviewed journal Physics Essays explains how this experiment has been used multiple times to explore the role of consciousness in shaping the nature of physical reality. It was published by Dr. Dean Radin, who you'll see in the lecture in this article here. He's chief scientist at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. He produced incredible results. Human intention via mediators was able to actually collapse the quantum wave function, and the mediators were the observer in this case. In fact, as Radin points out in his lecture, a 5 sigma result was able to give CERN the Nobel Prize in 2013 for finding the Higgs particle, which turned out not to be Higgs after all. In this study, they also received a 5 sigma result when testing mediators against non-mediators and collapsing the quantum wave function. This means that mental activity, the human mind, attention, intention, which are a few labels under the umbrella of consciousness, compelled physical matter to act in a certain way. Observations, they said, not only disturb what has to be measured, they produce it. We compel the electron to assume a definite position, We ourselves produce the results of the measurement, end quote. So where does the physical material matter come from, and why does an invincible force like human consciousness affect it? There are even supposed real-world examples of mind-matter interaction at the classical scale displayed by humans with special abilities. All perceptible matter comes from a primary substance or tenuity beyond conception, filling all space, the akasha or luminiferous ether, which is acted upon by the life-giving prana or creative force, calling into existence in never-ending cycles all things and phenomena. This is what Nikola Tesla, Man's Greatest Achievement 1907, wrote. One of many, in fact, who had been contemplating the ether and its relation to what we perceive as physical material matter. In ancient times, Plato, the ancient Greek, referred to the ether. This is from his work Phaedo. It says, "And upon the earth are animals and men, some in a middle region, others elementals, dwelling about the air as we dwell about the sea, others in islands which the air flows around near the continent, and in the word, the air is used by them as the water and the sea are by us, and the ether is to them what the air is to us." And here another interesting quotation from this ancient text. "And they allowed Apollonius to ask questions, and he asked them of what they thought the cosmos was composed, but they replied, of elements. He asked, are there then four? And Larcus says, not four, but five. And how can there be five, said Apollonius, alongside of water and air, earth and fire? There is the ether, he said. Even René Descartes proposed that theory that space, what we perceive as empty space, is completely filled with matter in various states. There's evidence to suggest that he was executed by the church because his science entered into the realm of metaphysics. Ether has got to be, once again, established, and then there will be the meaningful understanding of physics, meaningful understanding of metaphysics, and meaningful understanding of spiritual process. This was written in Parahamsa Tawari. With so much evidence showing that human consciousness is directly intertwined with our physical material reality, it further suggests that our own feelings, emotions, perceptions, and state of consciousness is a key factor when it comes to creating and shaping our human experience. What state of being are we all operating from on a daily basis, and what impact does this have on our reality, on our human experience? If we want to change the world, how important is it that we create from a place of peace and love? What kind of reality are we going to create if our thoughts and perceptions of major global events are not really ours, but given to us from an outside source like mainstream media? How do we react to events? Are your thoughts and feelings about what happens on planet Earth even ours? Is our consciousness manipulated by powerful people? And what kind of impact does this have on our state of being? If we want to create a new human experience, we can't do it from the same level of consciousness that got us here in the first place. Can we ever really identify a God particle when it's most improbable that matter is birthed from an immaterial realm? This was from Spiritual, Mental, and Material. Our World Is, this says renowned physicist, published on The Pulse here under Creative Commons on Collective Spark. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.